the biggest nerf for him was actually the ultimate cooldown. That was a massive. Again, another strong mid laner, but the Orianna is still available as Na'Vi are going to be going ahead and taking Corki off the board.
Yeah, Corki is going to be a good ban for him.
And big opportunity to take him down in the counter ultimate there. So Zed's going to have to be very, very careful about when he chooses to go for that all-in play. Looking across the rest of the teams, you see the Xayah is going to be the AD carry going up against this Misfortune. Misfortune, one of the most banned champions, let alone AD carries in the game right now. So very surprising to see Misfortune kind of get through, and excited to see what she's going to be able to do here.
And Misfortune and Lee Sin just hated throughout the entirety of this event. I have the impression they're just banned or picked, and Misfortune's going to go the way of Mumu. He's been having some really good results with that pick, especially versus Na'Vi, and hopefully they can get himself another win under the belt. But there we go, onto the Wildrift once more. And we're going to be seeing which one is going to be taking this game as the music goes down, as you get nice and low-key with this one. And I'm looking at the composition of Team Queso. You got yourself Shockwave, Headbutt Pulverize, Unstoppable Force, also the Blade Caller with a root on top of it, and also the Cyclone of a Wukong. The amount of CC Wombo combos of Team Queso is insane. And if they all land, you're gone. You can't even do anything. So if Team Queso execute properly on their combos, it is going to be really hard for Na'Vi to be able to play around it. But one way to deal with CC is Ragnarok from the side of Olaf. So Olaf works amazingly well in this comp, actually.
Yeah, and the interesting thing for this matchup is going to be the fact that it's two very different team fight, or not even so much, I don't even want to call it team fight identities, because the win condition for Na'Vi here is to not have team fights. They want to isolate targets. They want to get them picked off on their own. You have Zed, who's going to be looking to just make an instant assassination. Misfortune is the only kind of outlier to this, as she wants everyone to be grouped for that bullet time. But you've got Olaf, who wants to just run at a target and ignore the team fight happening around him. You have the Gragas, who's going to be using that ultimate to split people apart. And even the Rakan, to an extent, now obviously the knockoff he wants people to be grouped for, but when he uses that ultimate for that charm, if you're getting on an isolated target with the composition that Na'Vi has, that's just an instant kill. So it's going to be interesting to see how these later fights kind of play out, because Na'Vi isn't going to want these big grouped up fights that Queso is going to be looking for.
And I think they're going to struggle heavily for peeling, especially. Like, the mobility of Mumu on this Misfortune is non-existent. Sure, you can get a little bit of extra move speed from time to time, but really Mumu is going to be the main issue, I would say, for Na'Vi here. If he gets engaged upon and he get hit by one ability, one piece of CC, he's going to be in a world of trouble. So going to have to go for a Stasis or for a QSS, one of those two. You're going to have to go for it. There's no option in the matter for Mumu into this one. Good, nice knock up into the Grand Entrance, trying to get responded away by Memorize, and that's going to be Juicy making his way back to Mumu, pops the shield, so he's going to be safe and sound. But Juicy a little bit overconfident in that early game, especially against the likes of Xayah. If you got 3 blades right behind you, that early route can be devastating, so you want to give it quite the respect it deserves, as Ghost going to go for a little bit of an invade, clearing out Vision, popping out the Vision Seed, and he's going to be making his way down to the bottom side. I do not believe he's going to go for the gank just yet, as he's waiting to hit that level 5 to cleanse that CC if the Blade Caller comes on through.
It does get level 5 off the Krugs, though, so now has the opportunity to go in, especially with the Rakan. They can make a very strong dive here, especially before Memorized hit. Memorized and Ibu not level 5, so they don't have those ultimates, which are crucial for their survival. We'll see if they do try and make a play happen on this next push, and it does look like actually Ghost is going to just move away from the lane, which I don't know. I think they really had an opportunity there if he stuck around with this next wave to try and make something happen before those ultimates came through for Memorized and Ibu.
Yeah, they're just about to hit that level 5, so there you go. They're just going to be hitting that one. Memorize and Ibu in a currently good spot. As Team Queso, they're also taking this one pretty chill. So I want to also go back a little bit on the interview that we had earlier. It was Ghost that was rolling during the break. One thing that was really interesting that Ghost mentioned to me is the fact that they only have 2 to 3 players in voice chat at all time. They're not talking as a 5-man crew, which is something I would say rather unusual going into the MOBA world. Normally, every single voice from every single player has its weight, and it is super, super helpful. But here they just do as a 2-3-man squad, just talking in the voice chat, and they were able to win versus Trovo Nova. So, man, imagine one day if they play as a 5-man crew in a voice chat. That could be bonkers.
Yeah, I'd have to assume that they've just gotten really good at using the in-game pings and quick chats to let people know the information, because like you mentioned, having the information coming in from all 5 players can be so crucial, just to be able to say, hey, this champion is low. They just use their ultimate, or they're roaming now. Like even the small little piece of information. I just saw the jungler in top lane for a second. Like that is so important to tell the rest of your team. So you got to figure that they're at least communicating through the pings. Otherwise, things can get very, very difficult for you. But right now, Mountain Drake is spawning, and you see members of Na'Vi already moving towards this objective. Probably going to look to see if they can find a pick somewhere before they commit to this, but they're not going to be able to find anything just yet. So Dragon is going to be the objective. Everyone now collapsing, both top laners walking their way down as well. This is going to be a full-on fight, except for the fact that Ibu is still down in that bottom lane and hasn't quite joined the fray yet.
He's going to have to roam a little bit around. They did spot that for some time, but they're not going to be able to cancel the roaming potential from Ibu. That's going to be an explosive cast coming out from Garen. Interesting one. And you never know. If you could have caught someone out of position and put them towards their team, that could have been already the turning point of that fight. Especially I'm looking at the Sky. Sky does not have his ultimate currently available, and you can see that because of that, they're potentially trying to buy as much time as possible. The explosive cask also not being available. Goes a little bit far on the front line. Got to be careful. Nice poking onto Ruiz also from Sky. And seem like they're just going to be rather respectful from each other. Na'Vi are just going to give away the control of the river. They're going to push a little bit back into their own respective bush. Is Garen looking maybe for another engage here? But yeah, the fact that they got two big ultimates not available for this fight is really pushing Na'Vi to not look for that engage. Oh, they got a little engage.
Yeah. But he of course has the tools to get out. Memorized and Acolyte, both are very low now. And this is going to be Dragon started up and should be secured here. Great job by Na'Vi to play around that positioning and just kind of force the members of Queso to have to respond to the fact that they were pushing in the mid lane and getting a little bit of pressure, getting a little bit of poke here and there. And it was just enough to kind of force them away from the Dragon and create that opportunity to grab that objective for themselves, really without any sort of contest. So now next objective is going to be this Rift Herald spawning in just over 10 seconds. Nice scuttle pick up there by Wukong to make sure they have that little bit of extra vision, extra movement speed in front of this objective. And this is going to be pretty tough for Na'Vi to try and answer to at this point, especially with Gragas having to make his way down towards the bottom lane to deal with the Malphite. And Wukong is recalling, so they're not going to be going for it just yet.
Just go back about that mountain fight also. I think that something was very interesting. We were talking about the poke, especially of Na'Vi being really dominant and able to give them extra control. Explosive cast onto Acolyte, but though he's going to get poked down pretty heavily. Maybe a body slam coming down to Acolyte would be the play. Can he close the gap? He's going to be using that unstoppable force to make his way back to the second tower, so he's going to be safe and sound. But the inherent Pokemon of Team Queso is not all that great. Sure, he got Ruiz with the ball and also Ibu with those feathers that can poke pretty severely. But for Andrew Z, Acolyte, and Memorize, they don't have really any kind of decent poking. Sure, you got Acolyte that can just poke with a few pebbles left, right, and center, but they're just going to get bullied because Na'Vi, the entire composition has so much potential poking with the barrels off Garen. Jeezy also have some base poking, Mumu especially with a ricochet, and even Sky with the shurikens. It's just something that Team Queso is a very all-in kind of composition. If the fight is ranged for a long period of time, most of the time, Na'Vi's going to come out on top.
Yeah, and again, that goes back to what we were saying at the start, where Na'Vi doesn't want all-in team fights. They want these pokes. They want to find people isolated on their own. Anything to avoid an all-in hard engage. That's the way that Na'Vi's going to be playing this game, and it's going to be up to Queso to try and find a way around that. That is going to be a kill down the bottom lane. Queso is going to go for this Rift Herald. They have a big numbers advantage, but they're losing a lot for this.
Yeah, 2 towers in bot. That's going to give them so much extra gold. Bullet time. Round to Andrew Zed. Going to be able to use his clone to make his way back to safety, but he does secure the Herald, so that's still going to be a win coming their way. But was it worth losing 2 towers on the bottom side? That is so much current gold. The goalie talking about that one up to a juicy 3,000 gold in a mere 7 minutes and 45 seconds. So overall, that's just a really good pickup from Na'Vi. Get a kill and another tower in bot. They are rolling in gold this game.
Yeah, now the only way that becomes worth it is if Queso are able to use this Rift Herald to get themselves another turret and use it at the right time to get control over the Dragon Pit. If they don't do that, that Rift Herald is not at all worthwhile because they gave up so much in the bottom lane in order to make that play happen. And good on members of Na'Vi to recognize, hey, we actually don't think that the Rift Herald is all that valuable, so we're going to commit some extra resources to this bottom lane, get the kill, get ourselves some extra turret money, and just play with that gold advantage and say, you guys can just have that Rift Herald.
Sky, not too sure about this one. The TP does come on through from Gragas, so he's maybe going to try and find some punishment versus Team Queso and trying to get vengeance for that one, but he's not going to get it. Sorry?
That's a really late TP coming through there. Now Misfortune is caught out in the river as well. So find some isolated targets, even though that's what Navi wants.
Oh, Mumu survives that? No way. Memorize going to be in such a bad spot, and he will fall eventually. The kill gonna away of the Misfortune, and now it's time to turn the tides in their favor. And just said, Monkey's gonna have to peel away from that one. But yeah, that heal plus the shield inherently coming on through. The Mountain Drake, this is a situation where the Mountain Drake does difference, and because of that, Mumu was able to stand strong.
And with the Mountain Drake spawning, because Wukong was back at base, they're not going to be able to use that Rift Herald to get pressure to prevent this Drake going over. So again, going back to that Rift Herald play, just not at all worthwhile for Queso. They gave up so much in the bottom lane, and they don't even get the next dragon as a result, which is what you want from, generally if you get the Rift Herald, it means that you are able to get the next Drake because you can use the Rift Herald for pressure. They weren't able to do so. Now that's 2 dragons over to Navi, as well as a 3 kill lead and about a 6,000 gold lead as well. So Navi holding up to their word right now, looking very strong here against Queso.
You just saw also very unfortunate play in the mid lane coming out, especially for Ibu. He tried to pop the Feather Storm, but unfortunately Sky's ulti was just a little bit too well executed upon, and he was not able to cleanse that damage whatsoever. So that's going to be an extra kill going away off Sky. And especially the one thing that we talked about Zed is, sure, he's great in taking those one-off fights, but the moment that he can't find any one-off picks and just find some champions out of position for Team Queso, he's just going to be keeping on forcing these waves and forcing a response from Team Queso to send 1 or 2 players to come his way so he can actually potentially take that fight. For example, right now he's in a bush just chilling, waiting for Ibu to maybe overstep his welcome, but he's not going to do it. He knows that maybe something is going wrong down there. But I think that the way they're using this Zed is exactly how you make Zed working competitive, as though Ibu gonna go for some good old damage. Mumu gonna get knocked away instantly. Really good stuff coming out from the Wukong, but that's gonna be a double kill going away of Mumu, and he's gonna get himself a shield also thanks to the side of Juicy. But no way, Mumu, you survived that twice in a row. That's illegal, mate. There's no way. Unbreakable Will's gonna keep Memorize up for quite a while longer, and now is gonna be still the kill going the way of Rakan. Mumu, how do you survive? You're like Leon 2.0 in this game.
And this composition from Navi is just working out so beautifully. They want these isolated picks. They want these odd number situations, and they're able to find it because they got these early leads with the pressure that they've been exerting with the Zed on the side lanes. Gragas going to the side lanes as well has been helping to apply, just forcing the members of Queso to have to split up. They're not able to find this all-in engage, which is their win condition, and Navi are just playing around it exceptionally well.
Although Howard's going to be used right now.
Very early.
Yeah, so it was very, very early on. So there's going to be just forcing as well.
You're a split pushing comp that has a lead and just picked up Baron. This is going to get very, very dicey. The Rift Herald doesn't even get a charge off in the mid lane. This is going to be really tough for the side of Queso to deal with, because they can now just continue split pushing 1-3-1, exactly what they're doing here. Gragas as a split pusher is not exactly the split pusher you expect, but hey, it gets the job done right now, especially with the composition that Navi has, the way that they're able to move around this map. They're getting pressure on this mid turret. You have a 5v3 there. You have to go in on that. They wait too long, and here's Navi.
Huge explosive card going out from that Gragas, and now they're going to have to move away from that one. But at the end of the day, they found Acolyte, Memorize, and Ibu. All 3 of them go down. They only lose Sky for the trade-off. As Andrew said, just going to be eating his way back into the jungle. They're going to continue on going for the tower now. They're going to crack it open, looking for potentially the Nexus onto this one. But seem like they are seeing their health bar not being the best. They're just going to commit for another tower into the bottom side. But man, that explosive cast just made everything just so much worse for Team Queso.
And again, that explosive cast, like you mentioned, it splits everyone up. It allows them to get these isolated kills that they want. As a team, Navi is playing this so well. They're going to get another inhibitor turret here in the bottom lane, and this is just going from bad to worse for the side of Queso. Navi absolutely dominant here. 13 minutes in, and they're now looking at 55 to 37,000 on the gold, 12 to 2 in the kills, and everything is going the way of Navi.
17,000 gold lead, and we still keep on climbing. Things for Navi are looking great. And he said it to an interview. Go said it. Oh, yeah, Team Queso 2-0. And they're one of the best teams in the European region as of right now, competitively speaking. And he's just feeling it. And I got to say that how things are going down right now, it seems like that prediction is about to become reality. But Team Queso might have a little trick up their sleeve for the next game, but I think that this one is already sealed in stone. We should be known that here the comeback opportunities are very slim for Team Queso, and for that to happen, you would need one of the biggest throws I've ever seen for Na'Vi to really give this game on a silver platter to Team Queso. It could happen, but knowing Na'Vi and how they've been playing throughout the past week and a half, I think the odds of that happening are pretty damn slim here, Tasty.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to come back from having 2 of your inhibitor turrets taken out, especially when you haven't taken a single turret yourselves. There is a lot of standing gold. It's a lot of gold that you can pick up, but you have to be able to leave your base in order to go get it, and that is just not a situation that Queso is in right now. They have to stay back. They have to clear out these minion waves, especially because Gragas is continuing to split push. Meanwhile, they're pushing in the top lane. They have minions with them here. They're taking down this 3rd and final inhibitor turret. Queso, it's now or never. You have to go.
You have to go. The tower's about to fall. Bullet time connects on so many targets. Mumu in a perfect spot. Taking a lot of tower shots. Got to be careful on this one. He's going to be good to go regardless. 2 players go down for Team Queso. Down to 3. Shockwave goes on to Sky. Did pop the ultimate earlier onto the side of Ibu, so still going to be good to go. Great play caller, by the way, from that Xayah, but the turret is going to be falling down, and because of that, the Nexus is bare, and that is game number 1 going over to none other than the team that is indeed born to win, and that is going to be Natus Vincere 1-0.
Yeah, huge game for Na'Vi. They're playing their composition immaculately. That is exactly to get caught out, like at the Dragon and in the top lane early on. We saw another instance where there might have been a collapse opportunity, but Na'Vi was able to just maneuver those situations so well that they